Hey guys, this is Theophilus here, and I want to run through this Cisco lab right here. It's a very easy setup, so we're just going to run through it. These are all the requirements, all the steps that are needed to be done, and basically, that's exactly what we are going to be doing to have this lab fully function. So let's start with the cabling of these end devices. So we're going to go by the lab requirements, and we're going to start from the first requirement, which is connecting PCA1 to switch port 2 and all the way down the list. So I'm using the straight through cable here, and we want to go to PCA1, and it connects to port 1 on the switch. The same for PCA2, connects to switch port 2, and PCA3 connects to switch port 3. And next we want to connect the switch A port 24 to the router port F00. So we also want to use a straight through cable, so we use port 24 on the switch and the interface F00 on the router. The next step is to connect all the PCs Bs. So let's do that. PCB1 to switch B port 1, and the same for PCB2. Sorry, let's grab the cable here. There you have it, and the port 2 and PC3 to port 3. And the other step, it says switch port 24 connects to router AF01. So let's do that. So port 24 on the switch is connected to F001 on the router. That is good. And now let's connect the rest of the network, and then we can go ahead and start the configuration. So you want to use a crossover cable because you want to connect like devices, like switches. So we want to do switch port 23 to switch port 23 on switch C. Okay. Next, let's connect the other devices. So PC1 goes to port 1 on switch C. Okay. And the same for PC2, port 2, PC3, port 3. Okay, so basically all these requirements right here are met. Next, we're gonna go to the basic configuration for the network devices. Let's increase the font on this lab, and then we will move ahead. So just do a quick increase of the font here to 12 for you, apply and close. Okay, so the first step, it says configure the router. So let's pop the router open and push it to the right. CLR. Next, let's get ready to rumble. Okay, so following these requirements, we're going to configure the lab just as is required. So that's all we are going to do. So the first step is basically, it says on F001 we want to assign an IP address. So you want to enter configuration mode. By doing that, and you want to go in the interface to assign the IP address for that interface. So you want to do IP add 192.168 1.254.255.255.255.0. It's a class C network, which makes it 255.255.255.0. You want to do a no short on the interface. That turns the interface on. Next, we want to move into the other interface that connects on switch B. So you want to do FA01 IP add 192.168.1. Sorry, this is 2.2.254. Okay, 255.255.255.0. Enter and do a no shot. That turns the interface on. So basically, these requirements right here, they are all settled with. Now static routing is already configured, so we don't need to do that, which is sweet. Next, let's set the security parameters on the switch. Okay, you want to exit this interface, and now we can go ahead and set the security parameters. So line con 0, password is Cisco, and of course it's a login password. Line VTY, and these are console password, and the VTY is the terminal password. Line VTY 0 through 6. You do enter. Password is Cisco, and of course you set the login password. And then you want to enable the secret password. Enable secret class. Now, what did I take the class from? As you can see right here, the secret password is class. Okay, so that's how you want to set it. You do enter, and that is done. Next, it says configure switch A. So, but just before we do that, let's do control copy run start. Okay, so you do copy run start to save the running configuration. That is good. And let's get rid of this one. So now we want to move on to switch A. This is switch A, so we want to pop that open, push it to the left, open the configuration interface, and I want to turn the interface on, and then enter configuration mode. So you say the VLAN IP address on this interface is 192.168.1.253. So let's go ahead and set that IP address on the interface VLAN. So you do interface VLAN 1, and VLAN 1 is the default interface for most Cisco switches. You can go ahead and create more VLANs, but by virtue of default, that VLAN 1 is the inbuilt VLAN for mostly generally Cisco devices, especially switches. Okay, so you enter the interface. You want to add an IP address to that interface as the lab requires. 192.168 1.253, and is /24 255.255.255.0. You do enter. I'm missing something, so you put on bring back out by using your up arrow. So it's 192.168.1, and that should work. I'm gonna do no short. That turns the interface on. Okay, then said they are all set in. Next, you want to set the security parameters on the switch as well. So let's exit that interface and want to do line con 0. Password is Cisco, and of course it is a login password. Okay, line VTY is 0 through 15, and that gave us 16 interfaces for line VTY connections on the switch. You do enter. Password is Cisco, and of course it is a locking password. And you also want to enable the secret password on the interface. Enable secret, which is class. Okay, that is done for the switch. Next, want to move on to switch B, but just before we do that, let's do copy run start to save our configuration. Okay, you exit out of it. Now this is switch B. You want to pop that open and enable. Come on, conf t. Next it says host name. Oh, I'm not naming the switches yet, so I'm going to do that. So host name, switch with a capital S and a capital B. That is done. Interface VLAN 1, IP add 192.168 2.253. That is for switch B. Okay, and the subnet max is going to be 255.255.255.0. 255.255.255.0. 192.168.2.253. You want to enter. You want to do a no shot on the interface to turn the interface on, and you want to exit and set the security parameters. Okay, so we're going to line con 0, password is Cisco, and of course it is a login password. Line VTY 0 through 15 give us 16 interfaces. Password, come on, password is Cisco, and of course it is a login. You would enable the secret password as well, enable secret class. Okay, so let's go back to switch A and router A to set their host names. Okay, so we can do that right in here. So you want to do host name switch A, and we should be fine. And same for the router, we did forget to do that. So you want to do host name router A. Okay, that is good. So now let's move on to switch C. Okay, switch B is done. Gotta do switch C. I hope I'm not moving too fast though. Enable conft host name. Come on. Host name swtch. Okay. Now I want to set the VLAN interface VLAN1 IP add 192.168.2.252. So these two switches are on the same network, as you can tell from the second octet from the left, from the right. Okay, so it's 255.255.255.2 dot 0. Sorry, 192.168.2.252. You do enter. You do a no short to turn the interface on. Now let's set the security parameters. Line con 0, password is Cisco, and of course it is a login password. Line VTY 0 through 15, password is Cisco, and of course also a login password. Enable secret. So enable secret is the command, and then the next word following is the actual password. So enable secret class becomes the password. Okay, and you want to exit. The next step, basically you have to configure the host devices, and that will enable us to ping the different network devices. So we're going to use the chat right here to configure all of our devices. Okay, so let's go to PC1 and pop it open, and now you want to go to desktop IP configuration, and you want to do static, not DHCP. DHCP is not configured with this lab. So 192.168.1.2 255.255.255.0. That is correct. Now your default gateway is the same as what you got on your router interface for F00. So it's going to be 192.168.1.254. This is the correct default gateway because that's what our end device is going to use to connect to our router and hence the outside network. Okay, 192.168.1.254. So we want to close this, and we'll move on to the next one. So it's PC2. Move this to the right, to the left, IP configuration, and import the IP address 192.168 1 come on 1.3 192.168.1.254. Okay, 192.168.1.3 192.168.1.254. That is correct. Close that, pop this open, and move this to the left. IP configuration 192.168.1.4 192.168.1.254 for your default gateway. So the gateway is what the PC uses to speak to IP or to devices outside of its own network. So if it wants to speak to devices that are within its IP subnet, it will just use the 255 subnet max and send the echo out of its own device. But if the packet needs to go beyond the network, that's where the default gateway comes into play. Okay, 255.255.0, that seems right. So let's close that. Now I want to move on to PCB1, and this is the 2 network, so you have to be careful with your addressing, or else you could really get this wrong. You open this, you pop that 192.168 dot 2.4. Oh, sorry, dot 2.2 255.255.255.0 192.168.2.254. Now the 254 is the PC switch B connection to the router interface of F01. That's the same address that's there, so that will be our default gateway. Okay, 192.168.2.254.168.2.2 this same correct, so we have to move on. Close that, and pop PC2 open, desktop IP configuration. So we want to do 192.168.2.2.3. You want to do that's correct. 192.168.2.254. That is correct. And just want to get rid of the DNS default settings. Don't want any conflict in our network. 192.168. I'm missing the 8. 2.254. You want to close that, and PC3. You want to input the IP addresses 192.168.2. PCB3 2.4 192.168.2.252. Okay, 2.254. That is correct. 192.168.2.254. Okay, that is correct. You want to close that. Now I want to move on to the other end of the network. You want to start from PCB1. Desktop IP configuration. So we're now in this category. Okay, so this is where we are. So it's 192.168.2.5. So like I told you, these other devices, they are on the same network just as switch B. You can tell from the second octet from the left, okay, from the right, sorry. Okay, 192.168.2.254. That is good. I'm gonna close this. PC2. 192.168.6 that is right. 192.168.2.254. okay. 192.168 192.168.2.2.6 that is right. You want to close that, and the last one is this one. Pop this open this. 192.168.2.7 that is right. 192.168 dot 2.254. okay. 192.168.2.7 blah blah blah. That looks right. You want to close that, and we are missing something, so let's fast forward this one. So our clock is still, our completion rate is still at 99%. So we're going to check result and see what is it that we are actually missing. Okay, so let's check assessment, and we are missing a default gateway on PCA1. So okay, let's close this. So go to PCA1, open this one. 192.168 1.254. We're missing a default gateway. 192.168 1.254. okay, let's see this again and see what the actual problem is. Okay, check results, assessment, PCA1. Everything seems to be okay except for this red. So it says incorrect RP. Okay, so default gateway is incorrect. Okay, let's give that a second try and see what we can find. PCA1. This is PCA1. 192.168. Am I? Oh, knew I was missing something. There you go. 192.168. 1.254. Okay, that should be correct now. That should fix the problem. Close that, and now let's check our assessment and completion level. There you go, 100%. So finally, just before I wrap it up, let's test our connectivity, and you want to ping across the network. It's going to fail, as you can see, but if you do a second retry, it should be able to ping across. Okay, the first failure is sometimes packets are dropped because the network try to establish connection between different hosts across the network. But once you get data flowing, and the session becomes established. So this is also going to fail as well because it's the first packet going through those devices that just joined the network. But this one should pass though. There you have it. So we are talking to our network devices, and you can repeat this for all the devices on the network, and once the steps were followed properly, all your devices should be able to talk to each other, making it a very nicely designed network. So guys, there you have it. I'd like to thank you for watching. Kindly subscribe to my channel. Please like the video. If you have comments, leave it down below. If you need assistance with your CCNA and your labs, you can shoot me an email. I always respond to my team. I will do the best I can to get back to you and assist you in whatever way possible. Thank you for watching and see you around another day.